Okay, this should be working. I figured I'd go live, do this raw, so you guys can chime in, leave your comments as we go through this. But yeah, I haven't been live in a while. If you're watching the posted version of this, maybe you can skip forward just a few seconds. I'm going to wait for some people to join, but if you're just joining in, make sure you just skip forward or go and watch the video. But maybe I'll start to go live more often with topics like this. They're pretty controversial here. So this video is going to be about lawmakers are trying to push to unveil and unmask Homeland Security agents on the federal level and on the state levels. Hello, Baby Shark. Make sure to please like the live stream so others can see the live stream. It helps out a ton. The more likes, the more views, and more people can see the message. And then as we go through this, make sure you guys are, leaving your comments so we can read all this. So let's go ahead and start with this. The Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors approved a motion to prevent federal agents from wearing masks in parts of the county. Will you cover GEO migrant camp in Conroe, Texas? I am eyeing it down, yes. And if you guys have video ideas, please leave them in the comments so I can go through that as well. And again, make sure if you're here, please like the video. When I say it helps out a ton and others get to see it, it's like the #1 thing that helps out the most. All right, so let's see what Los Angeles County Board has to say. I'm sure they have a really good point and a great reason as to why these agents need to take their masks off. Here we go. Ready for this?
The LA County Board of Supervisors approved a motion that could eventually prevent federal agents from wearing masks in parts of the county.
Motion carries.
It now goes to county attorneys to draft up a rule to be voted on.
If you're going to come into LA County and interact with our public, they have a right to know who you are.
Okay, so first things first, what does she mean by interact with our public? Is she talking about legal citizens? Is she talking about illegal citizens? And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not even watched these clips. I just pulled them up and I want to, do it raw with you guys here so we can all work together and figure out what exactly they're trying to accomplish here. Interesting. And also, apparently, it's certain parts of the county. What does that mean, certain parts of the county?
To go to work.
Supervisor Janice Hahn spearheaded the effort. One of her biggest concerns, public safety.
We're having problems with imposters. So if everybody is wearing a mask, we do have criminals who are out there who are, could dress up as agents.
CBS News has confirmed at least...
I'm not trying to keep stopping this, but imagine that is the actual excuse. There are people who are wearing masks, thus it's become such a big problem. We're going to have to pass this law. So for anyone who lives in the Northeast and wears a mask during the winter, have you ever thought about, I'm going to pretend to be a Homeland Security agent? Or for every single American who celebrates Halloween? I mean, that's really the justification they're going with, but I am hoping that they're going to provide us with some evidence or some charts that show us that, we have an influx of imposters here, which is a federal crime. You shouldn't be doing that already. That's already a law, not to impersonate a federal agent or an officer.
A dozen people have been arrested across the U.S. for impersonating immigration and customs enforcement agents in the last few months. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons recently addressed the mask controversy with his own safety concerns on CBS's Face the Nation.
I'm not a proponent of the masks. However, if that's a tool that the men and women of ICE to keep themselves and their families safe, then I'll allow it. If we had those laws or regulations in place to give ICE agents and officers and other law enforcement officers the peace of mind that someone that does threaten their life or their families or doxes them will be held accountable, I think that'd go a long way.
Bans on federal agents.
And honestly, you're saving a ton of money if these agents are just wearing the mask instead of having to go through the arrest of people leaking their private information. Yeah. Mask in 2021 was enforced. What a joke. They created it. Yeah, good point. And again, if you guys are just joining, make sure to please like the live stream so others will see the live. And let me know if you guys want me to keep going live and we can interact together as we do this. I just got home from the Texas border deployment, and this was a problem. Even the media couldn't tell the difference between us and the police when the LEO dresses like us. No surprise, the Democrats are always trying to expose ICE officers. Americans want to know why Democrat officials are not in prison.
Masking their identities will likely have to be fought in court.
That share some of the
UC Davis professor Kevin Johnson specializes in immigration law.
It's going to be very unlikely that any kind of court will uphold a state or local law saying that ICE have to be unmasked.
I know.
Hahn remains undeterred.
You know, it'll be a lawsuit. So we'll probably get sued over it, but I say see you in court.
Of course she doesn't care. It's not her money. Imagine being a taxpayer knowing that the law, a local state law, cannot be imposed on the federal government. Your taxpayer money is being wasted. It's not going to be her money out of her pockets. It's going to be the people who are paying for that.
LA County is not alone.
Even this guy's flustered.
There are a number of other cities, states, and congressional districts who are taking up this issue. Now, in a statement to CBS News, the White House said ICE agents require these masks to protect themselves and blame Democrats for attempting to undermine their officers. John.
Okay. So Tom Homan has responded, and Tom Homan hates this topic because to him it's pretty black and white. These agents have to wear a mask because sanctuary policies have created an environment of, a dangerous environment for these Homeland Security officers. In Portland especially, those officers literally have to wear masks because their information, their family's information, has been posted all over the city and on the internet.
We're honored to have a few minutes here with Borders Czar Tom Homan. Tom, thank you so much for being here with us. I want to get your opinion on something that just came out of LA County. Its Board of Supervisors just voted unanimously to draft a new ordinance prohibiting immigration officers and federal agents from wearing masks when doing their jobs, except for carrying out any sort of medical procedures. What's your reaction to this?
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Did they propose any sort of rule on unmasking Antifa? Or unmasking the protesters that turned violent in LA that attacked our ICE officers?
That's a good point. We always are focusing on the Homeland Security officers, ICE agents. What about the other way around? What about people who are wearing masks who are being violent towards these agents? Someone said, love your show, amigo. Thank you so much, just me. ICE is federal, and federal law trumps any law passed by any state/city council. And that is actually why I started making my videos. I couldn't believe how many people didn't realize that because you're a sanctuary state, that's great, but you're not a sanctuary federal country here. You know, you're just the state, which is why California doesn't know what to do. They don't know how to respond, and the voters are really upset right now.
ICE officers that ruined, that destroyed millions of dollars in federal property, that attacked LAPD and the LA County sheriffs. How about the man that threw a Molotov cocktail on the officers, which is a deadly issue? Any rules on that? Of course not.
Doesn't appear to be.
Politics over public safety.
And to that point on Antifa, does this administration have any plans to rule Antifa as a domestic terror organization due to its actions against our own ICE agents and federal agents?
I don't know of any discussions concerning that.
There was a push to try doing that early on. I think it was Margie Taylor Greene. Maybe somebody could fact check me on that, but I don't think that's ever going to pass. In the United States, especially in the Portland area, if you guys are following my channel, I've been covering a lot on Portland. Those judges are very big on making sure that a lot of these protesters, their First Amendment laws are protected, regardless of pretty much who you are. So, someone said, we should kick California out of the union. Man, every time I say one bad thing about California, I get so many emails from Republicans or a bunch of comments from Republicans who live in California, and they're like, hey, don't forget about us. We still exist. Every single time. So I'm going to stop being mean to California. I know there's a lot of you out there who have to live there. You're Republicans. Every single time, I always get emails. And again, make sure you guys are please liking the live stream so other people get to see the live streams as well. Heading to Portland next weekend. Ugh, what are you doing in Portland? And tomorrow, there's going to be a big Portland protest. Apparently, they're going to possibly target Christians and definitely go to the Portland Federal Building. I got a little insider information on that. A lot of the journalists that I've been promoting will be covering that. So that's going to be very unfortunate.
And in the meantime, you are planning a trip to Seattle and Portland. Our very own Jonathan Cho here at Frontlines with Turning Point is out there on the ground covering the insane riots and protests happening out there. Do you have a date locked in? Are you ready to go to Seattle and Portland, taking on that state, those cities?
I'm going there very soon. I'm going to be there shoulder to shoulder with the men and women of ICE. They put their, their safety at risk every day, removing the worst of the worst in this country. And I'm going to show them that I got their six. I'm proud of what they're doing. So
when Tom Homan shows up to Portland, that's going to be huge. The protesters who are out there, when the initial announcement came out, man, they were very, very upset. And I really wonder if we're going to see Tom Homan actually stand shoulder to shoulder in the middle of these protests. So that's going to be pretty wild. I know for sure he has to go to Seattle and deal with that. Seattle, the Homeland Security officers over there, also dealing with their own issues, but Portland really is the epicenter for the Homeland Security officers getting attacked day in and day out. If the protesters can wear masks, so can the agents. That is the argument from the Trump administration, but that is also the argument from the judicial system as well.
no one's going to intimidate us not to do our job, including me.
What will be your main focus in Portland and Seattle when you travel there?
To meet with the men and women of ICE and let them know we got their back, let them know we got their six, and we understand the difficulty they have out there, and it's a very dangerous job. We're going to give them the protection they need. We'll give them the equipment they need, the technology they need, because we're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and the Homeland Security, the agents in Portland specifically, they need a lot of equipment and they need a lot of support. They are quite literally on their own since the Portland police is not backing them up.
That state, those.
Now, let's go here. I found this clip. This is on the federal level. So you have local level, LA County, and I think there's one in New York where there's a bill trying to be passed that would force agents to unmask. But this is going to be on the federal level.
All right, we're back now at 5:31 with the push from Virginia senators to change the way ICE agents operate.
All right, so Democrats argue that ICE agents dodge
Imagine being a lawmaker who's never worked in this field, and you're now trying to tell people how to do this job.
Transparency and accountability by covering their faces with masks and not properly identifying themselves as law enforcement.
Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder has more on this new bill that calls for changes to ICE as the agency is looking to hire thousands of more agents.
This video shows fully masked ICE agents worked in operation in Sterling earlier this year with no visible agency insignia. Many of the
And by the way, again, I talk about this every single day. I looked up the protocol, and if federal agents, every single time they had to tell you who they were, that would make the job 10 times worse. Because do you really think if you're in the middle of a raid, you're going to tell everybody around you, hey, I'm here, I'm an ICE agent. Specifically this job is literally to find people who are trying to run away from them. So when you look into the policies, generally speaking, Homeland Security, they do eventually have to tell you who they are, but not during times of inconvenience, such as we're in the middle of an arrest or we might get in a shootout. So it can be very dangerous. You can't just tell people exactly who you are. I mean, you could watch any cop video to know that.
ICE arrests and detentions News 4 covered show agents wearing plain street clothes and often driving unmarked vehicles. Now, Virginia senators have put forward legislation that would require ICE agents to remove their masks and clearly identify their agency.
They should be identified. No mask. They should definitely be identified, the law enforcement agency that they are with, because otherwise, is this a law enforcement person or is this a kidnapper?
Senators
Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, you could make that analogy with anything, right? And again, make sure you guys are leaving your comments how you feel about this. Yeah, I've been covering the Portland story now for about 8 weeks. And when I first saw all of the Portland footage 8 weeks ago, I was like, I'm just going to probably make one video because every single news channel is going to talk about it. And to this day, it's probably the least covered story I've ever seen. that should be covered by every single news agency. I don't think MSNBC has ever talked about the Portland agents who get surrounded every single night.
Tim Kaine and Mark Warner did put language in their bill that would provide some protections for ICE agents. The proposed bill would not require the agents to display their names.
We didn't put that in to get Republican votes. We put it in to be responsive to concerns we heard from law enforcement.
ICE does not support the proposed bill from the Democratic senators and suggested it's unnecessary, telling News 4 in a statement, in part, quote, ICE officers and agents are highly trained and dedicated professionals sworn to uphold the law. They always have their credentials visible and clearly announce who they are, end quote. But Senator Kaine says that's not always the case, including one incident in Charlottesville in which people were recently detained by masked ICE agents who did not have any distinguishing uniform or insignia.
I know in courts there's Charlottesville and Albemarle sheriff's deputies who are armed to try to provide court security. And if they're providing court security and somebody comes in with a mask and starts trying to grab people, I mean, some of these ICE agents could get shot by law enforcement who don't know who they are.
Okay, I mean, this is... I don't even know what to say to this video. My blood pressure, when I make these videos, this is why I can't go live. I start to stutter, I start to get annoyed. We are making comparisons that are absolutely insane. What if an agent walks into a courtroom with his mask on? The officer might not know who he is. It's not like every single courtroom in America does not have security before you walk in, right? Insanity. What the heck, bro?
The senators say the need to make changes to ICE is urgent, as the administration plans to ramp up ICE operations and hire thousands more agents. Reporting in Northern Virginia, Drew Wilder, News 4.
I don't have any updates on the F-35 crash. I apologize. Somebody said no idea how he was elected. Okay. I have another video here kind of responding to a lot of these mask policy. Okay, let's just say even if the mask policy does go through, let's just say in a bizarro world that happens, nothing changes. If anything, it's just going to make the job more dangerous for ICE, but nothing changes. So I don't think anything... This is all for nothing. I don't understand what the point of any of this is.
Good morning, Bill. The Visible Act would ban federal immigration officials from wearing face coverings, but require them to display their names or badge numbers during enforcement operations. And this comes as DHS says ICE agents have faced a nearly 700% increase in assaults recently. A New York man was just charged with threatening to kill federal immigration officials as well as their children, posting online, "Kill them all. ICE is the new age Gestapo. Stop them. Then understand that if your ICE agents don't show proof of identity and a signed warrant, we will kill them. I can't wait to put a bullet into this guy's brain, but first his children." This past Monday, a man armed with tactical gear opened fire on Border Patrol agents at a facility in McAllen, Texas. And days earlier in Prairieland, Texas, another police officer was shot in an ambush. 10 people are facing attempted murder charges for allegedly drawing those agents out of a detention facility with fireworks and vandalizing vehicles.
I do find it interesting that in all of these videos, none of that was brought up. All we talked about was they shouldn't be wearing masks, but we never talked about the bad things here.
I've been down the shore before. I've seen this recipe before. It's going to end in bloodshed. And I say either a protester turned criminal is going to be killed or an officer is going to be killed. And it happened yesterday. I didn't want it to be true, but I've seen this recipe before. And I tell you something else, it's not over. Unless the Democratic leadership stops the rhetoric.
We certainly call on Democrats to tone down their rhetoric against ICE and Border Patrol agents who, again, are everyday men and women.
House Speaker Mike Johnson.
And to be honest with you, it is quite shocking how many agents actually have not lost their life while doing this operation on a national scale, to include Border Patrol. We're talking about massive, massive scale. Border Patrol agents are getting hurt, but to lose your life, the number is super, super, super low. These, of course, are the senators who approve this. Is anybody shocked by any of these names? Gilmar Obrego Garcia, Chris Van Hollen. I talk about him a lot on my channel.
Johnson urged Democrats to
Alex Padilla, he's the guy. Remember, Kristi Noem didn't know who he was.
tone it down and set a better example, but Democrats are defending the bill, which currently has 13 co-sponsors. You had Senator Alex Padilla on Tuesday saying it's pretty straightforward, no face coverings, no masks, and Congressman Dan Goldman saying if everything's legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks? Borders Czar Tom Homan says ICE will continue to do its job and double down on its efforts and triple down in sanctuary cities, saying, quote, not because they're blue, but because we know they'll reach some public safety threats.
Have any of these people worked in like the line of duty here or have had to do a job that dangerous? I'm really curious how many people here have actually had to do that. It's actually pretty wild. Anyway,
Here's our Tom Homan.
that is pretty much all I got for you guys. This was never intended to be like a long live stream. I just figured why not just do this live instead of going through the whole YouTube thing, doing the intro. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. Do you guys have anything else to say about this topic? Got another one here. Nothing. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you, that man Dan. It's not going to do it. This has all been because Democrats inciting the protest. They want those agents unmasked because Tails being paid by Russia. Whoa. Kevin. That'd be an interesting video topic. Stay safe. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. That's pretty much all I got for you. If you want to leave your comments on the posted video, that would help out a ton, and I can read through those. And if you guys have video ideas, also make sure to please leave your comments as well. Thank you guys for everything. God bless, and maybe we'll do more live streams. I enjoy to do these live, interact with the comments. I think it's kind of fun. Thank you guys for everything, and peace. Love you guys. Thank you.